Hi friends, welcome back to Faith and Arrow Homestead. My name is Jaylee and today we are doing my 2-year YouTube anniversary Q&A. It's actually been a few days. I posted up on in my community tab asking you guys to leave your questions for me, and then I needed to kind of mull them over for a couple of days, and then I had something happen today that went perfectly with one of the questions, and so I have a little story time today, and I thought, okay, today's the day we're gonna film this baby. Also, you may notice that we do not have my handsome Tom here with us. He actually didn't get any questions this time. And I was thinking about it. I think the first year of my YouTube channel, he was in a lot more of my videos. He wasn't really in a lot of my videos this year. I wasn't going to force him to sit here with me if he didn't have any questions. So it's just you and me this time. But I'm going to answer these questions in the order that they were asked. I did receive a couple of questions on Instagram and I lost them. I don't know where they went or why I can't see them anymore. So unfortunately, if you ask me a question on Instagram, I'm going to have to figure something out for next time because I can't find those. So these are the questions that were asked on YouTube. And the first one is, what prompted me to want to be a YouTuber? And I think that's a great place to start because I do have a bit of a story. And actually, if you've ever visited the About Me page on my website, it details that journey really well. I don't know that I'll get that into it in this video because I have other questions. But so it started with me graduating college, and I was so proud of myself for graduating. It was quite the journey. I had a lot happen in my life while I was in college, and it took me quite a while to graduate. And so for me to graduate, I was like, okay, finally, like I'm accomplishing things in life, I'm getting there. And then I started my first big girl job, I called it, as an x-ray tech in a local hospital here. And it took almost a year for me to really recognize and accept how wildly unhappy I was, because I spent so many years convincing myself this was what I was supposed to be doing. So to be living it and feel so discontent was really a big pill for me to swallow, and that was tough. And so finally I was honest with myself and I said, you know, you're not happy, you're not okay. And so I thought maybe it was the department I was working in, which partly it was. So I switched to a different department doing a different job. And I was happy for a little while. And I said, okay, this is it. This is what happened. And then it started to creep back in again. And this last job that I had, because I only had 2 since graduating college, it was the best. I mean, I was working with the best people, doing the best job. I was making great money. There was nothing to complain about. It was a great situation. I had a great boss. It was great. So why was I so wildly unhappy? Now, I've been a Christian almost my entire life, pretty much my entire life that I can remember. And then I've been an active Christian, and I say that to mean that I've been actively pursuing it on my own since I was about 19, I want to say. However, when I moved here from Kentucky in 2016, it definitely wasn't at the forefront anymore because I was predominantly kept in it by my ex-husband's family. And so when I moved here and I didn't have that influence anymore, I don't want to say I strayed because I've never questioned my faith, but I wasn't actively pursuing God the way that he deserves. And for some years that went on. And then it was around this time when I came to the realization the second time in the new job that I was still unhappy, that I started to ponder, is it because, you know, of my lack of commitment lately to God? And so I started getting back into that a little bit. I started praying more and reading my Bible, and I started asking God, what's going on here? Like, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? What am I doing wrong? I realize now I wasn't even asking him the right questions, so that's a testament to his commitment to us, that he would bring me to the right path when I wasn't even asking the right questions, because what I should have been asking was, what should I be doing? You know, what path do you have for me? How can I follow you? How can I look more like you? I wasn't asking any of those questions. I was saying, what's wrong with me? Why am I so unhappy? Why can I not just suck it up like everybody else and work a normal job and have a normal life? And as soon as I started praying and asking him, that's really what got this whole ball rolling. I mean, and it's just been boom, 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 boom. Like, he has opened my eyes to so many things so rapidly in the past couple of years. It's been crazy. And so I was trying in early days of me discovering that I did not like working at the hospital. I started throwing myself into anything that could maybe bring me some joy. Tom bought me a keyboard, and I was going to start learning how to play the piano again. My parents bought me Rosetta Stone. I was going to try to learn how to speak Spanish, which I still want to do. I want to do both of those things, actually. And then I got this crazy idea to stream video games online, and like having a webcam, because you can make money doing that. And I bought a couple video games, and I bought a PC. I started playing because my husband plays video games, and it just was not doing anything for me. So then I started discovering cosplay, which is where people dress up like video game characters, movie characters, and I love like clothes and design and like fantasy stuff. And so I was like, oh, maybe. So I did a couple of photo shoots. Actually, if you scroll all the way back to the beginning of my Instagram, there are a couple of things posted there. And I liked it. It was fun, but it was not fulfilling me. It wasn't bringing me the kind of like soul mending contentment that I was looking for in my life. So all the while I'm still praying, and my relationship with Jesus is evolving, and I'm growing spiritually. And as all this is happening, I am doing cosplay, and then I got on Pinterest and I started looking at cosplay on Pinterest, and it kind of snowballed into cottagecore. If you're not familiar with cottagecore, it's basically like little cabin in the woods but translated to fashion. So like corsets and long skirts and flowers in your hair. And I was just totally smitten with cottagecore, loved it. And then cottagecore, once I started, can we just thank the algorithm first of all? Because the algorithm has really like guided me here. It's been really funny. So once I started looking up cottagecore, the algorithm picked that up and started translating it to making bread and canning and being outside with animals. And so it definitely started out as like an aesthetic shift. And then once I started seeing these things and seeing these content creators who were doing these things, I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. And so I found it. I found what my soul was longing for. And it's funny because it came full circle for me, because I was interested in that stuff back when I was still living in Kentucky with my ex and his family. And I was getting Mother Earth news sent to the house, and I had a dehydrator, and I was doing all that stuff, but then I lost it. I lost myself along the way through all the turmoil and all of the obstacles and challenges that I faced. I lost it. And it was, I'll never forget the day that cottagecore translated into homesteading on my iPhone. And I said, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And so I already had the YouTube channel and everything created, and it was under the name Cooking with JB, because I've been cooking my whole life. My mom taught me how to make lasagna when I was like 11. Like, I've always been cooking. And so it first translated into cooking, and then it was over time that I started to gain confidence in my homesteading skills. And then I renamed my channel Faith and Arrow Homestead back, it was this year, early this year. And this channel has really become a homesteading channel in the past like 9-10 months, I want to say. So that's a really long story, but I really wanted to answer that question because it is quite the journey how I got from miserable hospital job to full-time YouTuber. And that's it. That's the full story. And like I said, my About Me on my website like really details some of those like emotions and stuff that I was feeling at the time. And it gets more into like my discovery of pesticides and seed oils and stuff like that, but I won't get into all that right now. To summarize the answer to that question, I really think what prompted me to be a YouTuber was just my own unhappiness and just this realization that the life that I had spent years fighting for was never what I was meant to be doing. And that's hard when you waste a lot of your time and you realize that it's not right to accept that. And so many people don't. They just keep going down the path that's not right for them. And that's where being a Christian comes in, because it was through praying that God revealed to me what was in front of me all along, but what I was too stubborn to open myself up to accept and realize. But we got there, and that's all that matters. The next question is, what is your favorite type of video to make and why? I thought a lot about this. I think my favorite type of video is a one recipe kitchen video. So like when I do, like I did the homemade cheeseburger hamburger helper or the creamy cabbage soup the cabbage, unstuffed peppers, all of those. I really like those because I love going on YouTube and getting dinner inspiration. And it's also really easy for me to film because I already know how to make it. It's something that I've been making, and I don't have to like go through all this effort to get all the ingredients. It's usually stuff I already have. So I literally just right before Tom gets home, turn my camera on and throw dinner together, and then it takes me like 10 minutes to edit it. So those are my favorite because I like watching them, and also because they're so easy for me. The video that nobody asked, but I'm gonna tell you, the video that I least like making are my big preservation days. Not because I don't want to bring you that content. I love having it on my channel, and it always does really well. It's just so much work. Those videos are so much work, so much filming, so much editing, so much planning, so much staying on task, being efficient, managing my time well. Those videos are really hard, but they do really well on the channel, and people really like it. And I like watching other people's preservation day videos as well. So this next question is a two-part question, and this is the question that made me want to film this today. This goes along with the story that I was mentioning earlier. The question, there's more to it, but I'm going to start with the first part. It says, how has it been quitting your job and doing YouTube full-time? It has been hard, like really hard. Guys, it's been hard. I quit my hospital job where I was making really good money for my age and was paying all my bills, had money to spare. You know, you leave it, you work, you leave it at work, you come home, you veg out on the couch. It was the cush life, let me tell you. And now that I'm chasing this really radical change and this dream lifestyle, it has not been without its challenges. And I'll tell you, the hardest part for me has been the finances. It's been real hard. And it's interesting because I wondered whether or not I should talk about this, because I know it'd be so easy for people to comment and be like, okay, so get a job. And I have thought about it many times, because if I just went and got a job, it would make my life so much easier, but it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm very sure about that. I was called to leave the hospital and I was obedient. I've tried to get jobs since leaving the hospital and nothing has worked out. And I feel very strongly that I am meant to just be doing what I'm doing right now. I've got my one patient and I'm focusing completely on YouTube. And trust me when I tell you that I am doing that. I film all the time. I'm always on my computer managing my website. I'm always writing down ideas and planning out videos and researching recipes, creating recipes, recipe testing. My life is consumed by this channel. Trust me, it is not that I am just sitting around being a stay-at-home trophy wife, vacuuming occasionally. Like, I'm really putting in the work. But the finances have been hard, and I definitely think that part of this journey has been because God has been teaching me a lot of lessons along the way, and I've been trying to learn them as gracefully as I can. Some of them have been harder than others. This financial lesson has been a really hard one because it's an area of my life where I really need to feel in control, and I think that that's reasonable. I think anybody would. I've had a really hard time letting go, and I feel like He is really putting the pressure in on this one area because He wants me to surrender it to Him. And it's not so much just the money, but it's the emotions that are attached to it. The sense of pride that's attached to it. And I say that because of what happened today. So here's the story. I went to the grocery store today and I needed 4 things: butter, eggs, peanut butter, and elbow noodles. I had $17 and like 30 something cents in cash, and that was all I had. And I needed these 4 items. So I go to the grocery store, and this grocery store has an app where it lets you like make a list, and then it gives you like an estimated total at the bottom. And it was $17.06. So I was like, okay, I've got enough for this. I can do it. So I go up to the register, and I'm always like kind of funny, chit-chatty. So I go up to the register, and it's a guy, and I'm like, just so you know, I only have just enough for this, so fingers crossed. You know, I'm trying to be funny, make light of the situation. There's him, and then there's an elderly lady behind me. And so he rings it up. It's $17.06, just like the app thought it was going to be. And so I take all the money out of my purse, and I'm counting out the change on the little slab of counter that they give you where the pad is. And one of the quarters dropped on the floor. And it's a quarter. Like, I needed the quarter. I wasn't going to have enough if I didn't have the quarter. So I'm like, no, no. And so I run after the quarter, and don't I kick it with my boot and send it catapulting through the store? So I'm running after this quarter, all the while shouting, no, no. Finally, I catch it. I'm like 5 registers away from where I started. So I have to walk back to the register with this quarter. The guy is just standing there with this look of like, I can't even really, I don't even know what his face was, to be honest with you, but I do know the face of the lady behind me. Absolute disgust. Like, how dare I be in the same store as her? Mind you, I looked okay. I wasn't wearing this. This is my, this shirt has stains on it, so it's a designated cooking shirt now. No, I had like a long sleeve brown shirt and a vest and boots, and I looked normal, I thought. But here I am counting out literal chains, chasing quarters across the grocery store floor, shouting. This lady, oh my gosh, the judgment was there. And then the guy, I don't think he was as outwardly judging me, but let's just say he did not help me, because either of them could have been like, oh, ha, 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 you know, blah, 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 small joke, ease the tension. They both just like stared at me. So I was like, okay, here's the quarter. Please give me my groceries so I can get out of the store. And I went and sat in my car, and I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because I am about to be 30 years old, and I just bought 4 grocery items in literal quarters, and when am I going to get my life together? Like, when am I going to get it together, you know? And that was the very first thought I had. When am I going to get it together? Because if it's not one thing, it's another. I was financially stable, but I was in a mental, emotional mess. I'm much stronger mentally and emotionally, but now I'm literally broke. Like, when is it going to come together for me? That was my first thought. And then I realized in the moment as I was sitting in my car that this is all part of the journey. And these challenges that I'm facing are character building opportunities. And so what did I do? I turned my car on, I put on my worship playlist, and I praised God all the way home because I was able to walk out of that store with the 4 items that I walked in there to buy. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Praise God. And so I am trying so hard to walk through this season of my life with as much grace as possible. And I'm trying to keep my eyes laser focused on God and his path for me, his plan for me, because that's all that matters. And I don't want to let these human emotions or even those negative thoughts that can kind of weasel their way in, I don't want to let them win. I don't want to let them win. And then to bring it back to what I was saying, it's not just the finances, it is the emotions attached to them. They're both a lesson to be learned, something to overcome. The finances, it'll happen. But the emotions, that's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to conquer that. So to answer your question, how has it been quitting my job and pursuing being a full-time YouTuber? It's been real hard. It's been real hard. But it has helped build my character and further my spiritual growth in a way that staying at the hospital and ignoring this dream never would have been. And so I think for that reason, it is immensely valuable, and I don't regret it for a second, even though it has not been very easy. The other part of her question says, also, how did you handle the feeling of opening your life to the world because of YouTube? I'm asking because I want to start my channel, but I have privacy reservations. That part was not hard for me. As you guys have seen from a few of these videos recently, I'm not a very private person. I think that people are starved for realness, and authenticity, and that's 100% what I want to offer on this channel, whether it is telling you about me chasing quarters across grocery store floors, or whether it's me opening it up to you about my miscarriage or anything. I want to be genuine and authentic, because being a homesteader is not just canned food and loaves of bread. There's a whole culture surrounding it, and I want my channel to be a true representation of me being on the outside of it, working my way into it. And so I'm very open and honest on this channel. But if you are somebody who has a difficult time with that, and this I want to like give you some advice here to the person who asked this question, just keep reminding yourself, and I tell myself this all the time, this channel is my corner of the internet. Your channel is your corner of the internet. I've had numerous people comment on my videos and be like, you talk too much. I'm like, all right, well then go find a different channel, because it ain't gonna stop. I am chit-chatty, okay? If you want somebody who doesn't talk, go find a channel of somebody who doesn't talk. It's out there. There's hundreds, thousands. Go get it. And so I remind myself all the time, like, you be you. You do what you want to do, because this is your corner of the internet. And so if you have a channel or you want to start a channel and you're watching this, always remember that. And then stand behind that, because the criticism will come. And so it's easy for me to say that when nobody's opposing me, but you also have to tell yourself that when people are opposing you, because they will. It will come. The criticism is a natural part of this. So if that's also part of the reason that you've got some reservations, just accept it, move on from it, put it out of your head. So you get to choose. If you share what you want to share, don't share what you don't want to share. I know channels that don't even show their faces. Like, you could have a whole channel and never even show your face. You could have, let's see, so you didn't tell me what you wanted your channel to be, but let's say you want to do a homesteading channel. You could have content where, let's say you make a video where you're baking a loaf of bread. The camera can always be zoomed in on your hands and what your hands are doing on the counter, and you don't even have to talk. You could do subtitles. Lots of people do subtitles. You don't even actually have to physically say words. You could just have a pretty song in the background and type out what you're doing subtitle style, and nobody will ever even know it's you. So there are so many different ways that you can go about it. You don't have to be nearly as transparent as I am. Or if you want to challenge yourself, try it out. But just remember, your corner of the internet. So you do you, and don't worry about what anybody else says, because if they don't like it, they don't have to watch. End of story. This question says, do you prefer to cook or bake, and what are your family's baked and cooked items? I prefer to cook, I think, although I do also love to bake. I love them both. I think I love to cook because it is so forgiving, and baking can sometimes be really strict with very little wiggle room. But cooking is not that way, and cooking's really hard to screw up, because you could always fix it somehow. And also, I love to eat. Oh, I love like cooking breakfast. I love breakfast. I made a chicken pot pie for dinner the other night, and it was so good. I love cooking. My families, I'm assuming, I don't know if you mean like me and Tom, or if you mean like my family. I'll go with my family. I have numerous videos on this channel of recipes that I state are my mom's recipe. And I'll link those all down in the description so you can check them out. There are several. We have a breakfast casserole that we always eat on holiday mornings. There's a pumpkin cookie recipe that we make this time of the year. Hot buttered steak subs that came from my mom. Pine bark, the pine bark recipe came from my mom. Yeah, I'll go through and find them all and link them down in the description. Me and my family, we like to eat. The next question says, did you always want to be a homesteader growing up? What got you interested in it? And did you grow up in a home that did homesteading? When I was your age, I had no clue what I was doing in the kitchen, and you look like you are a pro at it. Well, thank you. That is so nice of you to say. No, I don't think I grew up in a home that did homesteading, but there were elements of it present. For example, we always had a small garden. I was never particularly involved in the garden, but we always had it, so I was used to eating like fresh veggies and stuff like that. My mom did a lot of scratch cooking. We were never allowed to drink soda, or we never really ate out, hardly ever. If all of my memories of eating out are with other people, never with my family. And we've always been a really close family. We grew up in Kentucky, just the five of us, my mom, dad, my brother, and my sister. And so we were always very close. And so I feel like there are certain things that are instilled in me that I definitely have leaned into in this journey. I also have some experience with horseback riding as a kid. There was a chunk of time where we were on an 80-acre horse farm. We didn't stay there my entire childhood, but we were there for a little while. And that I don't even I wasn't I want to say we were there between like 8 and 11, when I was 8 and 11, somewhere in there. But I feel like that's a really prime time for like imagination development. And I had lots of that because I'm older than my little brother and sister by 4 and 5 years. So I often went out and played by myself. And I have lots of memories of imaginative play outside by myself with like the animals and stuff. So I think all of these things had something to do with it. But then what got me into it, I don't know. I don't know. Because I started showing interest when I was 19, and that was when I was still living in Kentucky, and I started like dehydrating and cooking from scratch on my own. And I got the Mother Earth News magazine subscription. But why? There isn't anything that stands out to me as being a big, like, and this was the moment that I just kind of always have. But I didn't grow up homesteading. There were elements of it. So I don't know if it was just the perfect storm. I don't know if it was guidance from God. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what got me into it. But I will say, because you said that when you were my age, you didn't know what you were doing in the kitchen. You specifically said kitchen. I can thank my mom for that. She definitely made sure that all of us kids knew how to cook pretty early on. Like I said, I was making lasagna by the time I was like 11. By myself. And so she's always had us be in the kitchen. I think all my siblings know how to cook to at least some degree. And she still cooks a lot, and cooks for us sometimes. And she always made us pitch in with the grocery shopping menu planning. So she would make every week, she'd make each of us give her a meal idea. And so we were always kind of like thinking about like, what do we like to eat? What ingredients does that take? Like, mom's going grocery shopping. What do we need? And so I think she helped us develop kind of a mind for it. And then I got married when I was 18 to my ex. And so I was cooking. I've been cooking for myself and the people around me since I was 18. So, yeah. And then the last question, somebody asked if I ever heard of malted waffles. And I haven't. And to be honest with you, I keep meaning to Google it and I keep forgetting. So let's Google it right now. Interesting. So this says, the Horlicks brothers invented malted milk powder in 1873. They had immigrated from England to Wisconsin. Malted milk consists of a grain, typically barley, that has been sprouted and quickly dried. The grain is ground up and then combined with dry milk. The Horlicks brothers initially marketed malted milk as a supplement for infants. However, over time, its nutty flavor and crunchy texture came to be appreciated in other forms, particularly including candy like malted milk balls. Like Whoppers? Is that a malted milk ball? I like Whoppers. That's interesting. So I would need to get the malted milk powder to put into the waffles then. This recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of malt powder. So I'd have to find that. Maybe my grocery store carries it. Yeah, I would be willing to give that a try. That sounds really interesting. Thank you for the idea. So that's all I got for you guys. I know that this was long-winded, but there were 2 questions that I really wanted to expand on. What got me into YouTube, and then what's been the hardest part of quitting my job and being a full-time YouTuber. I really wanted to answer those 2 questions just because they've been so fully like in my face. And so I just really wanted to talk with you guys about that. I can't believe we are going into our 3rd year together with this channel. This is crazy. It's been 2 full years that I've been doing this channel. And it's interesting to me because the first year was so hard and so discouraging and so just me feeling like it was never gonna happen for me. And now that I am starting to see some success and things are kind of happening, it's like I always knew it was gonna happen. It was just a matter of hanging on for dear life. So if you are interested in being a YouTuber, if you're gonna start a channel, if you've already started a channel, guys, you just gotta hang in there. You cannot give up, because the only way to guarantee that you don't make it is to stop. Plain and simple. It's just as easy as that. Otherwise, you never know. I would even go as far as to argue that if you don't give up, you will get there. I even have this one YouTuber that I follow, and she has been, so I've been following her for 2 years, so it's been 9 years now, but I remember watching a video where she was starting to get some success, and that's how I found her. I was kind of swept into that whole algorithm increase that she saw, and she said, you guys, I have been putting videos on this channel for 7 years, and it's finally taking off. And I just checked the other day, she has like over 300,000 subscribers now, that girl, and she's been making content for 9 years, and it took her 7 to see success. So you just can't stop. You got to keep going, and you will eventually see success if you don't stop. And it helps too if you're on, if part of the reason it's been so easy for me to not quit is because I'm 100% without a doubt certain that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is God's path for me. So I'm not going to lose. Like, I will see success. Like, I will win, you know? So it's easy for me, even when it's difficult, for me to be like, just got to keep going, got to keep going, got to trust God, surrender it to God. He's got this. It's easy for me to say that because of how sure I am that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it helps if you could also have that same level of certainty. If you feel very strongly that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then just don't stop, and you'll see success. It'll happen for you. And that's true for anything, whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're trying to start a blog, if you're trying to start a brick and mortar company, if you, whatever, if you feel in your heart that that's what you're supposed to do, then you will succeed. You just have to keep going, and you just have to trust God. So I am so grateful that you guys are here with me. Some of you have been with me. I've actually had a couple of Instagram messages being like, hi, I've been following you for a long time. And I'm like, I remember you. I've seen your comments. We've had a couple chats. Like, and I just think that's so fun. But also all of my new people who are here, I'm just so glad you're here. I'm so excited for the community that we're building. I love reading your comments. And I can't believe we're going into the 3rd year of this channel, and I'm so excited to see what this 3rd year holds, because look at how far we've come in 2. I just can't wait to see the growth that we'll see in year 3. So stick around. If you have not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And I don't want to like be overkill, so I'm just going to sprinkle it in occasionally, but I just want to say that it helps my channel so much if you share my channel or maybe your favorite video on your social media. That really helps me get out there, and that'd be great. So thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith, my friends, and keep moving forward. Bye.